All right. Good evening and welcome to Showtime TV. I'm your host, Omar Rashada. This evening, March is Women's History Month, and I'm starting the program out March the 10th, 2023, with a queen that's originally from the city of Wilmington, Delaware, but now she's all the way in Grenada. Oh my goodness. And she having some fun time. She's doing a lot of great things. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Sister Natural. Sister Natural, good evening and welcome for being a guest on tonight's program.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Omar. Thank you for having me and tapping me into Wilmington, Delaware, the place I was raised and born. I'm excited just to be connected with you guys tonight. So
Okay,
thank you.
okay, that is great. That is so awesome. So let me ask you. You often talk about the Nokaki tribe, if I'm pronouncing it right.
No Kukai, yes.
Nokokai tribe. You know what is that? Let's start off by just talking about that.
Okay. So greetings, everyone. Happy International Women's Month to all. And No Kukai Tribe, No Kukai Tribe is the name of my business. The business is 12 years. Uh, Last month, February, was 12 years. And the name itself has several facets to it. Okay, when I lived in South Africa, of course, if any of us, and this is just from someone who has lived in two different parts of Africa, when you go to Africa, you will leave with one of the names that they stole from you many, many years ago. There is no way you're going into a village in Africa and not come out with an African name. So they named me in South Africa No Kukanya. No Kukanya Kumalo. And No Kukanya means light. They say you bring light to this village. So that's a whole story right there. So the first part of the business is no ku. No ku. That's where that comes from. No kukanya, which means light. I brought light to a village I lived in and it had no electricity and running water. I said, boy, if I'm the light, then I'm honored. So that's the first part of the business. And then you'll hear Kai, no ku Kai tribe. I have two children, two godchildren that are everything to me. And they're twins. One is a girl, one is a boy. And the boy is Kai, which means a body of water. So he is our king. He is our king. And no Kukai, he's the king. They're twins. I just said they're twins. And so the first K in no Ku is for the young empress, which is Kalia. And Kai is the king. So no Kukai and tribe is all of us. That's you. That's me. That's our ancestors. That's all of us. That's Wilmington, Delaware. That's the island of Grenada. That's South Africa. That's Rwanda. That's everywhere I ever lived. Antigua and Barbuda. We are all the tribe because I can do none of this that I'm doing. None of this that I've been blessed with. All these beautiful places I've been blessed to live. I can do none of it without you. I am because you are. So no Kukai tribe. We're all the tribe. That's the whole gist of the name.
Okay. Now, you've been involved, quote unquote, with the African culture, from quite some time. You're heavily involved with Kwanzaa. You mentioned that you've been going to different places. What had got you into what drew you into the likings of the African culture?
Um, for one, it's in our DNA. So I'm gonna stay with me. It's in my DNA, and I don't, with all the teachings and traveling and living in another man's country and educating myself. One thing for sure, if something is in your DNA, you cannot escape that. So I used to always wonder as a child, what was it about me? I started sewing and making all of my clothes about 13 years old, which I still do today. I do not
Right.
shop in malls. And I used to always make a head wrap to go with the outfit. Culture again, it was beautiful to me. I did not know the history of it then. All I knew is it was beautiful. It was a covering. I've always been hungry for knowledge. I was one of those children who loved to hang around elders. I didn't always want to go to the girls club. My friends used to laugh at me or run around in the park. I'd rather sit on the step under the elders. I was always hungry for knowledge. So I always wanted to know who we were, where we come from. How did we get stolen? How did we get spread it all around? How did we get dropped off? I was always trying to taste foods from somewhere else, some other country, some other island. Culture is a big part of me. Now I know I move the way I do because it's in my DNA. Mm-hmm. And it was an elder that brought that to my attention. She said, Natural, you move the way you do because it's in your DNA. And I understand that, because when she first said that to me, Omar, I got to be honest with you, I didn't understand what she meant. It's in our DNA. How can we not? How can we not? It's always going to be nagging at us to learn who we are, respect that, and honor that. So when it was time for Kwanzaa, some 20 something, 30 maybe years ago, it came real easy for me because it was another opportunity to embrace who I was. And every time I'm in the presence of our culture on any level, I feel it. Bob Marley said, he who feels it knows it. I feel it, Omar.
Mm-hmm. Well, being in African culture, it could be a challenge among friends and family. For example, yes. You wear the head wraps. You don't wear, quote unquote, the westernized clothing. You wear clothing that represents Africa or your culture. So growing up, and even today, you ever get those maybe friends or family that may say, why are you into that black stuff, that African stuff? What's wrong with you?
Absolutely, yes. Even today, none of my friends or people in my life, well, I won't say none of them because I've lived so many places. But if I go back home to Wilmington, which I'll be joining y'all in about another 60 days, nobody dresses like me. It was always difficult. Nobody does this. But me, nobody's excited about going to live in Africa and Caribbean, everywhere where there's 98% African. Nobody's interested in none of that. Nobody's interested in wearing long, beautiful clothes that cover your entire body. Very few people. Now, I have a whole heap of people that are in my circle, Wilmington and everywhere else, here where I am, who honor that type of embracing your culture. But I have a whole heap of people don't do that. I'm the youngest of 9. I'm the last born. Me and my sister Claudine, who loved you dearly, we might have been the 2 that embraced it the heaviest.
Okay.
Absolutely. We are the 2. Ain't no might have been nothing. We are the 2. Let's just give it. We are the 2 that embraced everything African, from our clothes head to toe. We were just the 2 out of the 9.
Right. Well, one of the things that is so admire so much about you is that you may mention that you live in different countries. Now, I don't take that lightly on a personal level, because listen here, there are those of us, when I say us, I'm including myself, who are afraid to venture out, to move from one city to another. Like, for example, moving from Wilmington or Philadelphia to New York or Las Vegas or Miami, right? But you took upon yourself alone to travel outside the United States. Man, how did you get that courage? Because I don't look at that as being an easy thing.
You know what, Omar? I'm laughing, but it's my spirit that's excited and joyful. And I want to thank you first for your honesty, because you said, even myself, you said, I'm afraid. And let me tell you something that happened when I was in South Africa. A gentleman walked up to me, a king man, and he said, wow, he said, you're beautiful. He said, what's your nationality? That's what he said to me. I said, well, I'm African just like you. I said, we're the stolen Africans. He said, no. He said, I'm Zulu. Like, he knew what tribe he was from. He said, what are you? I said, well, we're the stolen Africans. I said, the only thing I'm clear about is that I'm African. I said, and it was a doctor who was just ready to help me get my mouth swabbed, but he had to uproot his family and move them to some other type of environment to do something. So that was the one time while I was in Africa, and I never thought about it again. I was just okay with the fact that I'm clear. So I want to thank you for saying, because if you don't know, it's so many of us, I just said it's in our DNA, like everybody's supposed to understand that.
Mhm.
It took me years to understand. I knew it about me, but some people don't embrace. Some people want nothing to do. Some people don't even know they're African.
Right.
Omar,
Or
I've
deny
ran
it,
into
or,
people
or deny it.
deny it or don't know it. I was talking to an older gentleman one time on the island of Antigua and Barbuda, where I lived for 3 years as a grade 6 school teacher. We was outside the courthouse and we were just talking about Africa. He said, I'm not African. Now, Antigua is 98% African, just like this island I'm on now.
Mhm.
These stolen Africans, this is Queen Elizabeth. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Queen Elizabeth's territory. We are stolen Africans. But it's some people that deny it, want no parts of it. They'll say, my ancestors, and all that stuff. Or I said to the gentleman, so what is your grandfather? Your great great grandfather? He said he was African. I said, then whatever your great great grandfather is, you are. And then he was able to maybe a little bit, but I could tell that he even had to process that. So I leave it alone because we have to come to our coming to process is personal. It's personal. Everybody comes to at their own time. And some people, even though they know it, they're like, so what, whatever. But I can't so what it. It's not a thing I can so what. And surely after I lived in 2 different countries on the continent, Rwanda and South Africa, it's serious business. Like you just said, I don't take it lightly. Guess what, Omar? Neither do I. I am so humble in it. The fact that, because I've waited all my life to get
Okay.
to Africa. I waited from 9 years old. I can remember as a 9-year-old child just thinking about it, eating foods that were from Africa, always wanting to go to an African restaurant or a Jamaican restaurant, something that would put me closer to the motherland.
Right.
So I don't take it lightly. I take it as a gift. I understand it's a gift. All I wanted to do was make it to Africa, and the Creator has saw fit for me to make it to 2 different parts of Africa. Do you know what that has done to my life, Omar? You said you don't take it lightly. Ooh, I'm there. I'm there. I start talking about Africa long enough, and tears will start falling from my eyes, and it won't be no sad thing. It'll be tears of joy.
Right, right. I
I'm
want to go.
honored.
So, I want to go something back to you mentioned earlier. You said this. You and your sister Claudine are the only 2 that embraced the African culture, right? So, and you said that your interest came from the elders. So, now, who were the elders? Were they your parents, or were they elders in the community, or were they elders, your grandparents?
No, they were elders in the community. And
Okay.
I'm gonna give you an example. Baba Kamal.
Oh
Baba.
yes.
Baba Kamal, his children are my age. We went to school together. Me and his
Okay.
daughter, Tanisi, we all went to school together, right?
Okay.
Bo,
Okay.
his sons, and everybody. So they were like the African family. They were the African family. So we were friends. So we spent a lot of time at their home. We were friends. They always made themselves visible. They were always present in our lives, and it was always drums and mudcloth and African kente. It was always something that I was focused on. I was like, I'm gonna learn what that is. Baba Kamal's the first one that set me down ever and taught me how to beat a drum. He let me play along with him and some other elders, and I felt so out of place, but I knew it was my opportunity to learn.
Okay.
And the fact that drumming was our only means of communication, all that came from that group of people in
Okay.
his circle. So that was one, and I was very, very young. We grew up with that African family. That was the first part. Another example I'm gonna give you. Now, when I had 2 military brothers, and one has his first child by a real popular Jamaican family right there on 24th Street next to where we was raised. So I
Okay.
have a niece that's Jamaican, and they were heavily into their culture. They was clear that they was African. Yes, they were born in Jamaica and raised, but they was clear. So I always would visit with my brother, and even when my brother broke up with that sister, I still had a niece there, and I was still going help her clean her house and cook her foods because I knew I was going to learn something about the culture. Whether it was understanding the tongue, the language that was stolen from us. See, island people, the beauty of living in the Caribbean, they got to hold on to that tongue. You can still walk past them in conversation and be like, huh? What they because it's English, but it's broken and it's spoken fast, and then it becomes patois. But what it really is, an elder told me when I was in St. Lucia, he said it's memories of the African language. And I said, wow, nobody had ever put it in layman's terms. So I was so grateful to hear him say that. So it's elders from my communities that I have built along the way.
Right. Like you just mentioned Kwanzaa, and for those who are attending Kwanzaa, one of the things they do at the beginning is the lighting of the candles and the pouring libation in honor of the ancestors. You want to talk about the significance of the candles and the significance of honoring the ancestors?
Yes, the lighting, the candles hold a great significance in Kwanzaa because each one of them represents one day of Kwanzaa, and each day of Kwanzaa is built around a spiritual principle. It's the reason why I love celebrating and honoring this particular amazing time. I don't even want to call it a holiday because it's not to be replaced with any Christmas or any of that other stuff that people may have been raised on. So each one of those candles, and those candles normally are red, black, and green,
right?
Which represents the soil, the blackness, the melanated people that we are. The red is the blood of our people, the hard blood, sweat, and tears of our people. And the green is the land. Simply, it's just that simple. The lands that they stole from us. So imagine lighting one of those candles every night and sitting and talking about the spiritual principle that we're representing that night. That's an amazing journey. So for anybody who has never taken part or took part in Kwanzaa, do yourself a favor. Attend a Kwanzaa celebration when it begins on December 26th to January 1. You don't have to get all deep into it. You don't have to raise your hand. You don't have to let nobody know you're there. But I'm telling you, it will do something to your spirit and your soul, and you will tap into yourself. You will tap into that culture thing that we're talking about. So the candles represent the whole spiritual principle thing. And it's just an amazing journey because you not only learn about the principle, you learn more about yourself and what you should be doing in this world and how you should be presenting yourself. Kwanzaa is something we should celebrate all the time, not just December 26th. We should move in that way. Those are movements. That's like a movement to me.
Right. Yes. Okay. And then the pouring libation for the ancestors.
Yes. Libations is honoring our ancestors. It's just that simple. And we always want to, for the most part, we like to use a plant, something that's live. Plants bring life to any space. So we're like calling on our ancestors because they guide us. They guide us in this life. No matter who and what you serve, we should always be allowing our ancestors to walk before us. So say you fearful about something and you're getting ready to go and present yourself on a job interview or whatever you get ready to do. I'm just using that as an example. Allow your ancestors to walk before you. So when we pour in libations, we normally say, back it up with ashe or ashe asante. Ashe means so be it. So be it. So we're honoring them. We're calling out our ancestors' name, and an ancestor can be your mother. I always include my mother in libations, and we pour ashe, and the people that are around us should be saying ashe, so be it, or asante. Asante is just putting more emphasis on ashe, ashe, asante, like you would say thank you very, very much. I'm putting more emphasis on the thank you, and that's what ashe, asante. So we're honoring our ancestors, and we should be calling out their names, from Frederick Douglass to Martin Luther King to my mother Maybelle Ward. We should be calling out those names and pouring libations as we do for each one.
Right. For those that's tuning in, you're watching Showtime TV in honor of Women's History Month. My special guest, my very first female that I'm interviewing this month is Sister Natural, all the way down from Grenada, representing Sister Natural. So you lived in different places throughout the world. So this once again, this is Women's History Month. So how were you perceived as a woman? Because I think being in another place, they may not treat their woman the same as they're treated here in America. So how would you say you were treated?
Wait a minute, you're asking me how I treated as a woman as I travel around the world?
Yep.
Women Who was that said that? Was that Malcolm X? He said women are some of the most disrespected species in the world. Something quote, quote, quote.
Black
He
woman in
said the
particular.
most disrespected. So when I think about that in a sense, hey, this is a deep question because I'm gonna start with South Africa because I'm gonna be honest with you. I never heard about Women's International Day or week or month until I lived in South Africa. So I'm gonna start there. When I first
Oh,
landed,
wow.
I was so excited to touch the soil. And I had these heavy bags with me. So I was catching a few buses to try to get to my destination. And the first bus I get on was an Indian man. And he was the driver. The driver was a man. I could see that he was an Indian man. And he said, "Where you say you from?" And I said, "Well, I was born in America, but we're the stolen Africans," because I always put that on the end. He
Right.
said, "Oh, you from over there where the colored boy is from." He was trying to describe Martin Lawrence, the comedian. He was saying the
Oh,
funny
okay.
boy, the colored boy, the color. And I said, "Oh," I said, "the colored boy." I said, "Sir," I whispered in his ear. I said, "Sir, we don't use that terminology anymore. The colored boys like saying, 'Come over here in the N word and shine my shoes.' Little
Right. Right.
little N word boy and shine my shoes." That's to me, that's what I hear when I hear colored. But he wasn't being offensive.
Mm.
It's
Right.
just that in South Africa, everybody is still in a class.
Right.
If you black, we were black. They were African. The white people were Afrikaners, Afrikaans. And if you were mixed with anything, you were colored. So if you were Spanish or black and white, you were colored. And I was like, wow. So as a woman experiencing that alone, it kind of messed me up. But I took it in stride because I'm just arriving to Africa. I want my experience to be amazing. So then I finally get to my school that I'm going to be teaching at. I'm going to teach English. And my principal of the school now has me. She puts me in a car. She said, "I got to make one stop to pick up my father." And I'm excited to meet a real Baba, a real Baba. I'm in Africa. And I says, "Sawubona," because she done taught me how to greet in Zulu. So I said, "Sawubona, Baba." And he said, "Oh, there is a name that I can't think of right now, and I just used it yesterday, but they call anybody who speaks a white man's language, you are it. They don't care if you brown." I'm over here sweating. We in the island, so I'm gonna have to use my fan.
Okay.
Woo! I didn't want to have
Well,
the air on or anything because I wouldn't have been able to hear you. So I gets in the car. "What is that word?" And he says, "Oh," and says and calls me that word that means white people.
oh,
He didn't call me. He said, I can't think of that word. Abalungu. He said, "Oh, Abalungu."
mm,
Now I knew the teacher, my principal had already put me down. She said natural white people are known as Abalungu. So I'm thinking they're gonna say that to the white people. Omar, he said, "Oh, Abalungu." I said, "Me, Baba? Me? Abalungu?" But anybody that speaks this white man's language is Abalungu. So as a woman, that kind of ripped me up. She said, "Please don't take it personal." She said, "Please don't take it personal. My father's from the old school, and that's what they call anybody that speaks the white man's language." And I was like, wow.
okay.
So it took a while as a woman, a brown woman, first time in Africa, waited since I was 9. Hey, that one hurt me. So I had to swallow that one because the entire 2 years I was there, I was in Abalungu. Once you get this, so the fact as a woman, see, I'm talking about stolen language, stolen names.
Mhm.
This stuff be hurting. Once you know what you know, it be hurting, King. It be hurting. Thank you for asking that. But because I know about ignorance, I know the conditions that we have been left in. I have studied and learned and been around enough people to know that we've been left in a condition. Um, our names should be the first thing we should be really taking back. I want to thank you, King Omar, for embracing African name. South Africa, they gave me no Kukanya, Kumalo. Right. They even gave me their surname. East Africa, Rwanda gave me Mutesi. Mutesi means one who is loved by many. So I'm so honored as a woman to have two of my African names back. It brings tears to my eyes on most days. And this stuff has changed my entire life. So as a woman, I'm beginning to just stand up and do my part. Right. I'm not offended no more. Every platform I get, I take full advantage of it. I want to thank you for this one. I hope some little brown girl that's about to be a woman soon, coming into her womanhood, I hope she embraces this and just be okay with the fact that the world isn't always a nice place. Right. And yes, we have been tormented and traumatized. Women need to know this stuff, because I'm going to tell you, as a woman, it spills over into everything else. It takes away from having relationships, good, solid relationships with the opposite sex. It does a thing to me as a woman, because I'm going to tell you, asked me this earlier about embracing your culture, being from a family of 9. I never really felt like I fit in America. And guess what? I have a difficult time fitting in here. And I had a difficult time fitting in Africa as a woman. And I'm going to tell you why. Because in Africa, where I stayed, the villages I stayed in, and may not be all over, and this is 2 years, I am very aware and I pay close attention. If a woman wears pants, they didn't really acknowledge her as a woman. I wear pants, dresses, and skirts, and I ain't changing that for nobody. It doesn't take away the fact that I know how to be a submissive, beautiful goddess queen. So you missing out. And they serious about that. If a woman doesn't have children, like I don't have children, they really consider her less than. Okay. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to stay in Africa, and I loved it. Now, I'm just saying, this is where I was. Africa is a very huge place, but the villages I stayed in, a woman that does not have children and wears pants, she ain't got a shot. So, and in America, I was always too cultured.
Okay, got
you. People was always asking me in America, what's your Muslim name? What's your African name? Growing up, I was like, I ain't no Muslim. I ain't got no African name. I mean, I'm just saying, and I respect Muslims, because that's how I learn a lot too, hanging out with my Muslim people. Assalamu alaikum for those that are here. But I learned so much, but they just assumed that I was somebody, some part of something, right? Because I embraced my culture. I couldn't just be a child of the universe. I couldn't just be outside the box. But guess what? Back then, I didn't know how to embrace it, but I embrace it now. Right. I ain't got to be like nobody. I got one name today. No, don't. I got 3 names. Natural, no surname, no Kukanya, Kumalo, and Mutesi. And I use all 3 of them, Omar. Right. So I don't really fit in too many places. I know I'm outside the box, and I'm okay with it. So as a woman, that can be very, very painful when it comes to dating. I thought I would go to Africa and my king man would find me, and I would be settled down, married, living in a cob home, and that would be it.
Right. So if you don't mind me asking, when growing up in the city of Wilmington, Delaware, what was your name before?
My name, I was born and raised Jacqueline Shepherd.
Okay.
Yes. And I was a Jackie, of course. And when it was time to change my name, which has been almost 20 years now, my birth certificate, passport, social security, everything says natural, one name. I don't carry a surname. And let me tell you how that happened. You have to, anybody that's changed their name, it's a process. You go up to family court, you get a simple application. They give you a date. You advertise it in the newspaper, I think for 3 days. I think somebody said you don't have to advertise it anymore. Somebody just changed their name. I walked them through that. But anyway, you have a date to go to court. And I had an old retired Caucasian judge. Okay. And he said, do you mind me asking you a question? I said, yes, Your Honor. What is the question? He said, do you think carrying one name will cause you problems in life? I said, no, not the life I live. I'm too free in my spirit, sir, for it to cause me a problem. And it does hold me up a lot. If I'm on an airplane from there to home here, and that airplane got 1,000 people on it, I'll be the last one in the airport because they be turning my passport upside down. So what's your surname? I said, I don't have one. They said, you don't have a surname? They go upstairs, they have a meeting, they come back down, they said, I be done fell asleep, I be sitting there, and they said, so you don't have a surname? I said, sir, you take all the time you need. That's a federal government document you have. You can't put nicknames on that. What is on there is what I have. Right. So I guess those are the problems he was talking about, but I don't even take that personal no more. I make sure I ain't in a hurry, know where I go. That's the reason why I move to countries like I do, because they don't rush. They don't move fast. Time is of essence. Everybody greets everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Right. So I'm in no hurry. Take all the time you need. I'm grateful for who I am.
So how did your family take you changing your name?
I remember one of my sisters saying, so what does this mean? You don't love and honor your family name anymore? I said, sister, this has nothing to do with the love of my family, because my grandfather, I didn't know a lot about him, but he made sure that I knew the importance of eating fruits like cantaloupes and different melons, honeydew melons. Right. And he made sure I knew that our surname was not ours. It was of the slave master. And when he told me that, I looked at him and I knew he was serious. So when it came time for me to change it, just one day I said, I'm changing it. It was personal for me. It had nothing to do with the love of my family. I love my family. My family be loving on me. I love them. So it had nothing to do with that. But I knew I wasn't. The judge said, give me a brief reason why you change your name. He wanted a brief reason. I said, no disrespect, sir, because he was retired. He had some age on. I said, no disrespect, but I don't choose to carry any more slave names. And he said, wow, I wish you the best in life. Next. And he went on to his next. And that was it. I was like, wow. I did it. I did it.
That's absolutely. Absolutely. Now you're also an entrepreneur and you sell something what is called CMOS. You got to talk about it.
Hey, that's medicine, Omar. That is medicine, Omar. So yes, I'm so honored, Omar. We specialize No Kukai Tribe, and you can find us on Instagram and Facebook. Well, Facebook will be under my name, Mutesi Aya, but Instagram is No Kukai Tribe, and we'll give you all that later. But we specialize in CMOS, moringa, and some of the best craft ever. Now I have some of my works on now, and I have an earring line.
Right.
We specialize in energy stones. We do a lot of beautiful, unique works that heal. The entire business is about healing. These are healing crystals. The CMOS has 92 healing properties, prevented me from having a next knee surgery. The moringa has 96 healing properties, took me off of blood pressure and cholesterol medicine.
So CMOS. Okay, so what is it? What is it used for? I mean,
CMOS, like I said, there's 92 healing properties. I'm going to suggest that everybody tune in. Please research, Google, however you research the healing properties of CMOS. Please, it's 92 of them. Omar, I'm talking everything from, if you want to make COVID mad, drink CMOS.
Oh, okay.
I'm telling you. And even if you do get COVID, it'll knock that thing out like you won't even know you had it in a sense, or to knock it out as if it was just a cold or just some flu symptoms. CMOS is the truth. It comes from the bottom of the ocean. Not a lot of competition. There's only 3 competitions: Grenada. I'm so happy to be in the race. I can serve my people. Jamaica and St. Lucia. That's it.
Now,
Grenada, Jamaica, St. Lucia comes from the bottom. You have to have some diver friends. You get a couple diver friends that dive and risk their life on a daily basis. They bring it up. They harvest it. You still have to harvest. You don't pull it out of the water so soon. It's a harvesting. part, and then you bring it out and you dry it by the sun. The sun and the moon is what dries it properly. It comes in many colors, very rich. You can eat it, you can smoothie it, you can use it for your skin. Don't forget your sea moss gel facials, please. You can make popsicles, you can make gummies, you can make soap, you can make da. Yes. Oh, it's medicine. Ain't no doctor gonna talk to you about it unless you have a conversation with our great late ancestor, Dr. Sebi, because he's the one that sensitized us to it years ago. We just wasn't listening.
Wow.
It's medicine.
Okay. And what color is it?
Oh, right now we specialize in, hold on one second. Let me show you something. Yeah. Da-da. Da-da. Oh, this is beautiful. Thank you. Okay. So right now we're specializing in golden sea moss.
Okay.
This is our golden. And it has like a sea smell until you soak it. It's a whole nother process to break it down into the sea moss gel. This is the gel in my refrigerator. This is your raw sea moss, and this is your sea moss gel. This is what you can use for your skin. You can take 2 teaspoonfuls a day. Omar, I'm telling you, this is for everything from, here they call it strong back. So if a man, come on, because we big people, if a man is having issues, I spilled my water, I'm sorry. If a man is having problems, his problems could be over. 2 tablespoonfuls a day, but everybody can't handle the raw taste of sea moss. So if you can't handle the raw taste, then take those 2 tablespoonfuls, maybe 3 of them, put it in a blender. Hopefully you got like a Black & Decker, a nice blender. And then whatever your favorite fruits are. Today I had banana and soursop. I have some soursop fruit, which is really, really sweet, makes its own sugar. Soursop and a banana, blended my sea moss, and drank that this morning, went on about my business. But a lot of days I just take them 2 tablespoonfuls, but that's for big people. We call it big people party.
Okay.
So here's some other colors, Omar, but right now I'm specializing in the golden kissed by the sun. This is like a lavender. Can you see like a lavender? And then I have like a green. Oh, that's the golden. I'm sorry. Okay, then I have like a green. It's like green and golden mixed together. It's like a green.
Gotcha.
Omar, this is the truth. And let me just tell you one thing I'm doing since we're talking about Women's Month. I started this 2 years ago, and I call them entrepreneurial startup packages for any woman. And I ain't gonna leave the men out. I ain't gonna do that. Anybody, I'm gonna say. I started it off with women who wants to start their own sea moss business. It's so simple. It's a great way to sustain yourself. Start your own business. If anybody's interested, maybe we can give out my contact, my Facebook and Instagram. Just contact me and mention your show. Mention your show where you saw me at, and I'll give you all the details. Anybody wants to start their own business. We just came through COVID, 3 years. COVID turned this whole world upside down. If anybody's still sitting and doing things the way they've always done them, you're going to be in trouble. I see you even now on live. Last time we was down in the station on the TV. Right. You better be doing things different if you want to have your own business. One of my largest sea moss customers lives in North Carolina. Her son has his own business. His business is called Johnny Appleseed. Guess what he sells? Sea moss popsicles, curbside pickup down in North Carolina, killing it. Wow. With Grenada sea moss. Come on, y'all. So our children have businesses. If you want your own sea moss business, you need more details, please reach out. Don't hesitate. Go ahead, Omar. I'm sorry.
Now, if someone wanted to purchase some CMOS, they were watching right now, how much do you sell it for, and how can they get in contact with you?
Okay,
Or
they can inbox me at Mutesi Aya, which is Mutesi, 2 words, Aya, Iyah. They can inbox me there, or they can go on Instagram to No Kukai Tribe, NOKUKAITRIBE. They can go to either one of those and they can inbox me and we can have a conversation and I'll give them the simple. We use all type of payments. I use Cash App for people that are comfortable using. If you're not comfortable, if you don't have Cash App, then we go over to my Etsy page and we accept all debit and credit cards. A pound of CMOS is $50. Now, if anybody knows a pound of CMOS that you get from me, you will make back the money that you spend for this entrepreneurial startup packages are $250 plus shipping. You will make that back. You can make about $4,000 off of 1 pound if you listen to me, if you do it right, if you blend it properly, if you use 12-ounce jars and sell them accordingly. You will make your money back, put it back into your bank account that you spent for the entrepreneurial packages. You get your 6 pound for free. You pay for your 5 pounds. I'm giving you a pound. That's how you're going to make your money off the pound that I give you. And you're going to make your money back. You're going to use some. You're going to heal yourself. You're going to make some more money. You're going to help some more people. Then you start with your 5 pounds that you pay for. Your money will already be back into your account. So if you think about it, add up the numbers, you paid nothing to start your business because you're going to make it back with the free pound that I've given you. So I started this 2 years ago in honor of International Women's Month. And I would love. So many people have taken advantage of it. And I am following them and keeping up with them. And they're doing amazing. They're selling flavored CMOSs. They're selling all kinds of stuff. And I'm proud of them. And I'm excited that I'm able to do this. This is my way of giving back in honor of Women's Month. Yeah. So it's starting out for the women, but it's open for anybody, Omar.
That's awesome. That's totally awesome. You may mention earlier of teaching English. If you want to expand on what other subjects you may be teaching, where are you teaching, and what is your educational background?
Yes, well, I just completed 2 master degrees, Omar. I am double master. And look, let me tell you why I'm not mad at COVID. I'm so sorry that we lost so many people, even though we didn't have to, because if they would have just said, let's link up with Grenada and get some of that true medicine, those people didn't have to die. That's that. So, wait a minute. Why did I say that? You asked me about English and teaching. Okay. So English is something that everybody wants to learn. When you start talking about international, everybody wants this. But when I went to South Africa, I went to teach English, but because they were so short of teachers, I ended up teaching natural science. And so I ended up teaching natural science and English. When I went to Antigua and Barbuda, they just wanted teachers with a degree, period, because most of the teachers were non-degreed.
Oh, gotcha.
You know, the education systems are really not up to par at all in these underdeveloped countries. So they just wanted somebody with a degree. When I taught in Antigua, all I had was a bachelor's degree. So I said I'm not mad at COVID. That's what it was, because COVID locked us in for 3 years. And I got 2 master's degrees locked in.
Wow.
So I just completed the last one on my birthday, 8 December, they just passed. So I have a Master of Arts in social impact / entrepreneurship. I always wanted a master's in entrepreneurship. I feel honored being mastered in it. Now I can teach entrepreneurship, which I do. And my second one is a MS, a Master of Science in Organizational Leadership. Awesome. So I just completed that. So I'm double master. Thank you, COVID. And because I would have never did it if I wasn't locked in and they had nothing but my computer. I would just went on.
Right.
I would have never did it. It was COVID. So I got to thank them. And so I teach skills that lead to entrepreneurship. That's what I do outside of my business. So I'm shipping out CMOS daily. I'm shipping out Moringa daily. I'm shipping out my craft daily. But I teach the art of wire wrapping. See these beautiful stones? That's a technique. So I teach the art of wire wrapping. I teach the art of making earrings, and I use different materials. I use some African fabric. Sometimes I use wires. Sometimes I use hand-painted wood. So I teach on my own now because I'm mastered now. I can teach. I don't have to wait for nobody to hire me. If I want to hold a workshop, a 3-hour workshop teaching a skill, then I do that.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
You know, so you stay busy with the teaching and the entrepreneurship. So I want to know what do you do for relaxation?
For relaxation, I spend a lot of time at the water.
Okay.
Omar, I live in the Caribbean. I live on an island. And every chance I get, I like to go up to the countryside. When you drive up country or get somebody to drive you, I like to park my car and organize transportation and let somebody transport me up country so I can see all them beautiful beaches and all them little tucked away places that you won't normally find. You got to have somebody going through there and all these little tucked away beautiful places that make you go, wow. You'll just see waterfalls gushing down, stuff you only see in a movie or in a magazine. I'm right here with it, but you got to get out there. You got to get out there. So I take advantage of that every chance I get. You can always find me at the water because see, the water is healing. And I got one knee replacement, so I always got to soak my body so I can stay right. I do all the stretching and all that in the water. The water is my favorite.
Okay.
It's nothing I enjoy more than water. And then I love gathering with the sisters. I got a handful of sisters over here, Omar.
Okay.
Built another community. And we meet. We have sister circles. We just had one this past Sunday up country. And I'm telling you, just beautiful to gather with them, sit back, kick your shoes off, dance, cook a nice pot of food. I love dancing. I love drumming sessions. Anything that wakes up my spirit, I love. Awesome. So I do a lot of that. And if I could go to the beach every day, I would, but I'd be having stuff to do. Now, this Sunday, I'm going to the beach early in the morning when the sun is just coming down or rising up, I should say.
Oh, okay. You got up early.
We have full moon parties over here. So when it's a full moon, I'll go and take my shoes off and just dance around and I state my intentions. I connect with my ancestors. That's what I do for relaxation.
Right. Awesome.
I love laying back under a palm tree on the beach and letting that sun melanate my skin. Omar, it's a life that I only dream of. I'm trying to tell you. Matter of fact, when you coming out to visit, Omar?
Oh man, I gotta see. Like I said, you know, I gotta get out of America.
Omar, do you have your passport? Do you have your passport?
I gotta renew it.
Okay, please do.
Definitely, because you know, I want to take my plays. I want to take my cast, and one of my goals, as you mentioned, one of your goals, one of your dreams, one of my fantasies is to take this play outside the country in this Grenada, Africa, Australia, Paris, France, all that good stuff.
Do it. Do it.
It's awesome.
Do it, Omar. You know what? It's funny you just said Australia. I just shipped my first entrepreneurial startup package to Australia.
Oh, that's awesome.
I serve America and the Caribbean. I'm excited about that. Australia, she found me online. Wow. Australia. I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's awesome. But that's a great thing about the internet. I mean, you get to meet people from all over the world.
All over. And it's the same with living all these different places. Omar, I've got support groups all over. All the places I named. If you went back to South Africa and KZN, where I live, KwaZulu-Natal, and said Nokukanya sent me, they would treat you, I know for sure, just like they treated me. They would say, come on in. Nokukanya sent you? So I'm saying I built communities all around the world that I can go back to anytime. I talk to them every day on Facebook like I'm talking to you. They want me to come back. They like, why are you taking so long? I'm like, calm down, please. But It's just a beautiful experience. My life has turned into something that I only dream about. I can't even believe it's my life.
So let me ask you, I'm just curious, living in different places across the world, have you ever experienced culture shock?
The only culture shock I experienced when I returned back to Delaware, and I'm gonna tell you, this might not make sense to you when I tell you the story. It seems like every time I come to America, I end up in the emergency. room.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, every time, right? So this one particular time, I flew over there with y'all, and I just started shaking. We had went out and got some food, and I just started shaking. My teeth was shivering. I couldn't. It was like 80 degrees there. It was like I was cold. So they put a blanket around me. I couldn't stop shaking. They called the ambulance. So they get me in the hospital now, Christiana or Wilmington, one of them hospitals.
Right.
And they kept saying, "Do you travel? Are you from somewhere else?" They was all in my ear. I was like, "Yeah, I live in Antigua at the time. I was in Antigua." And they said, "What did you eat? What do you eat?" I said, "Well, when I'm in Antigua, I eat everything that grows from the ground. Green food, spinach, everything grew from the ground. We would only go to the supermarket to get like pepper sauce and different things, right?"
Okay, got you.
He said, "What did you eat today? What did you have?" I said, "I went and got a pizza roll from down Route 13 on DuPont Highway." He said, "Wait a minute." The doctor said, "You've been living in Antigua for the last 3 years, eating everything freshly grown from the ground, and you came back here and ate a pizza roll?" Guess what he said? He said, "You're in culture shock." That's what he said. And he gave me something that brought me back. He said, "You can't do that, be eating all them fresh foods and then come over here and eat some damn pizza roll." That doctor cussed me out.
Wow. Oh, man.
Omar, he said I was in culture shock. So that's the only culture shock I do. But
Right.
anything else, because like I said, from a child, I always wanted to make it to Africa from 9 years old. When I made it, I was 50, Omar. So
Uh-huh.
there was no culture shock for me. I was honored. I was more honored than anything. Even when they called me Abalungu, I got over it because I knew that was lack of education. I knew that was ignorance. Look, once listen, I know they stole our language, and I know you view this tongue as a white man's language, but I know the conditions they left us in. I know what they robbed us of, so to speak. So there was no culture shock for me. It was just about being patient and educating my people. They couldn't even connect me to them. My students, I had grade 7, and we had a lot of conversations. They said, "Teacher, where you say you from?" Mistress, they call teachers mistress. "Where you say you from?" I said, "I was born in America in a small place called Delaware. It's the first state and blah, blah, blah." They said, "Well, we see that you look like us. We see that you dress like us." They said, "But why do you speak different than us?"
Mm.
And I said, "Wow." I said,
Listen.
"You don't know your history, do you? Do you know your history?" They said, "No."
Okay, got you.
No. So now we have to have a history lesson. They don't know about being stolen. And it was the same. I had started telling you a story earlier about a man said, "You're beautiful. What nationality are you?" And when I was trying to tell him African, he was saying, "No, no, no, I'm Zulu. What are you?" And I said, "Wait a minute, sir. Do you know your history?" He said, "No, I don't." And I appreciate that so much. Me and that man talked for the next 3 hours
Wow.
about how they stole us. They made us speak this language. They beat the crap out of us till we said, "No, my name ain't no Kukanya. It's Jackie. It's Ronald." And took their names, their surnames, and now they stopped. I was like, "What?" He didn't know none of that because they don't have nobody to teach it in the schools.
Right.
All they know is what happened right there. And as far as they go. So to have me on board was such an honor because I'm learning their culture and they're learning mine. And
Right.
I'm telling you, it brought tears. I cried the whole 2 years I was in South Africa
Wow.
because it was a wake-up call for me. It was real for me. When them elders held their arms out, Omar, mm, 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 it was like, welcome home. Welcome home.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've had some amazing experiences that I don't take lightly. When you said that, I don't take that lightly. You said I don't take that lightly when somebody lives out the country. That's like a big move. Omar, I felt you when you said that because I don't take it lightly neither. I can't believe it's me. Sometimes
Right.
I'm saying, you know how people have to pinch themselves?
Right. Right.
I'm saying, how did the creator choose me?
It's a
I'm from East
blessing.
25th Street between Lamont and Carter.
Uh,
Nobody makes it to Africa. And if we do, we have a responsibility. That's what they taught me in Antigua. They said, Natural, if you ever make it to Africa, it was a rule in Antigua. you have a responsibility to come back and share it with the rest of the people. We don't care if you on this platform. We don't care if you under a palm tree. We don't care if you're on the side of the road. We don't care where you at. But every opportunity you get, you need to share that with us. It was a rule in Antigua. I loved Antigua. I love everywhere I've lived, really.
Who are some of the women that you have come to admire?
Some of the women that I admire, Maya Angelou. Mm-hmm. Maya Angelou is a woman I admire so much. I tries to memorize her poetry and stuff. I just read about it. I love her. Madam C.J. Walker, the first Black millionaire woman, the first African millionaire woman, going door to door to make it happen, trying to sell some hair products that nobody wouldn't buy. And then she just bust out. She ain't give up. She ain't stop. Rosa Parks, because I have some of Rosa Parks in me.
Okay.
I have to calm it down a lot. I ain't sitting in the back. I ain't getting up. I'll still act that way if I see somebody trying to act that way. If you understand what I'm saying, I have to talk to myself. People say to me sometimes, I scare people that I'm around. They're like, Natural, you're gonna have to calm down a little. I ain't calming down. They need to calm down. So I have some of her in me. I'm not getting up today. My feet are tired. I'm tired. It's 600 years later and they still murdering us in the streets. We ain't gonna go there. We ain't even gonna do that. But I'm tired. So I admire my mother. I admire my grandmother. Oh my God, my grandmother, I didn't get a lot of time with her, Omar. But every time I look at her picture, she reminds me, I don't know why, I think she reminds me of a Haitian woman. She was tall, she was dark, she was strong. She had them same grooves in her face as Harriet Tubman. Mm-hmm. You talk about admire. Wait a minute, I'm gonna come back to my grandmother. Harriet Tubman, she said, I freed thousands of slaves. I would have freed thousands more if they only knew they was African, if they even knew they were slaves. They got so accustomed with the massa, yes, massa, they didn't even know that they were under attack. Underground, traveling with a 357 Magnum in her pocket and a baby in her arm, and would use it just to get free in the middle of the night, every night. Omar, we ain't gonna talk about, I'm telling you, we'll be on here all night. I admire anybody that is attached to us DNA wise, because first of all, you traumatized. We're traumatized. I don't care how we try to put it. Our men, most of our men have taken on the mindset of the slave master. They've lost total respect for the Black woman, or Malcolm X wouldn't even been able to say that. Do you understand what I'm saying? See, they have taken on the mindset of the slave master. You do what I say, you ain't good enough, and I'm going to do it to the ones that don't look like you.
Right.
So we're talking about Women's Month. We can come from so many different angles. I want to thank you for all these different angles you coming from, because this is a lot. Right. And I started off with my grandmother. I want to finish with her. I want to finish with my last family reunion I went to. Let me share this to you. In 2018, I came to America and we had a family reunion. They already have one now in July. They're like, Natural, are you coming? You know, and they asked me would I do the honors of being the guest speaker for my entire family members. I don't know, they had all the elders lined up. Omar, as far back as we could go is Johnny and Molly Ward. That's as far back as the tree. The family tree can go. So everybody else is falling off that tree. The kids, the grandkids. And so they was given the story, the autobiography of Molly. Molly was a midwife. And she traveled all around the South delivering babies. She was never home with her children. Molly was a white woman. Look, green, blue, my father's mother's mother. But she always had her little brown children. They were her grandchildren. So they would say, Molly, what you doing with them little nigger babies? I'm sorry, them little N babies. What you doing with them? Molly would stand up and fight and argue and cuss. These are my grandchildren. Because Molly was a white woman. So when they was giving her autobiography, they said Molly was known as Bushwoman. And I broke down in tears. They said, what's wrong? Because when I lived in Africa and Antigua, guess what they called me? Bushwoman. Because they couldn't understand how I knew about so many bush and herbs and how to tie a knot in a lemongrass. It's like, where you learn all that from? Listen, I thought I had discovered something new about me. No, my ancestors had already paved the way. Molly was Bushwoman, and they called me Bushwoman. I'm honored. I couldn't believe it. They said she was always trying to find out a medicinal herbal way to heal somebody. My entire business is about healing. How do you connect that? The ancestors that rose up again. Omar, I'm excited of what I'm discovering about myself through my ancestors. It's in our DNA. I'm excited.
All right. All right, Sister Natural. So as we close out the program, I want you to leave your contact information for those who may want to be interested in contacting you. And do you have any events, any online events that you can share with the audience?
Okay. So I want to, for anybody that's interested in starting a business, this would be the month to do it. And you can contact me once again on Instagram at No Ku Kai Tribe, just like you hear it. NOKUKAITRIBE. That's Instagram. Facebook people, Mutesi Aya. MUTESI Aya. IYAH. So that's that. For the entrepreneurial people that have been dreaming, what can I do to start a business? It's easy. It's healing. And I'm on my way there in 60 days. And I want to really shout out to, I would like to do some partner. I like to partner, do some, what do you call, what's that word when you partner with people through business? It's a word. But anyway, I am seeking barbershops, beauty salons, bookstores, anybody who has the ability to put a small refrigerator, vegan restaurants. If you have a little refrigerator up front, I would like to partner with collaborations. I'm trying to think, I'm coming seeking collaborations, people. All I'm asking, say somebody got a barbershop. You'll put the sea moss. We'll have 12-ounce jars. It'll be in the refrigerator. And when they get their hair cut, all you got to do is say, man, don't forget your sea moss. You will make a profit off each jar. I'm doing 90-day initiatives. I'm only there for 90 days. If you feel like, oh, we want to continue to do that after you going natural, then I'm your person. I ship out daily. But I want to do these 90-day initiatives because this is a lifesaver. This is our solution. Read about the 92 healing properties. So I'm coming seeking collaborations. And I'm offering entrepreneurial startup packages, 2 major events. Please take part in them. If you got any more questions, reach out to Mutesi Aya on Facebook or No Ku Kai Tribe on Instagram.
All right. On that note, we'll close tonight's program. Sister Natural, thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you so much, Omar, for the opportunity.
All right. For those who are watching, please like, subscribe, and share. God bless and have a safe week. All right, Sister Natural. Talk to you later.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.